we speak about fasting, we often imagine an empty plate, a quiet stomach, a long stretch of hours without food. But what we are really speaking about is time, time that allows the body to shift its language, time that invites every organ to speak in a different voice. Among all those voices, the heart has one of the most subtle stories to tell. It does not cry out. It does not announce dramatic changes. It simply adjusts beat by beat, listening to the changing chemistry of the blood, responding to signals written in hormones, minerals, and quiet electrical rhythms. The heart is not just a pump, it is a listener. It listens to oxygen, to glucose, to fatty acids, to stress hormones, to calm ones. It listens to your thoughts through your nervous system. It listens to your fears, your hopes, your sleep, your breath. When you begin extended fasting, the heart is among the first organs to realize that something has changed. Not because it is starving, but because the language of the blood begins to change. The heart is often described as a pump, a machine that pushes blood through pipes, but this description is too small for something so sensitive and alive. The heart is a listener before it is a mover. It listens to what is carried in the blood, to the balance of sugar and fat, to the rise and fall of hormones, to the quiet electrical whispers of minerals, and to the invisible messages sent by the nervous system. Every beat is an answer to what the heart hears. When fasting begins, the heart does not panic or protest. It simply starts listening to a new language inside the body. In ordinary daily life, the blood is full of messages from food. Glucose rises after meals, insulin follows, and the heart adjusts its work to this rhythm of eating and digesting. It beats a little faster when blood sugar is high, a little slower when the body is calm and fed. The heart reads these signals automatically without thought or awareness. But when food disappears for many hours, the language of the blood changes. Glucose slowly falls, insulin becomes quiet, and other signals begin to speak more clearly. The heart notices this immediately, not as hunger but as information. The heart does not know hunger the way the mind does. It does not crave taste or comfort. It only knows chemistry, pressure, flow, and rhythm. When insulin drops, the heart feels the change in how blood vessels behave. When fatty acids rise, it senses new fuel arriving. When stress hormones increase slightly to protect blood sugar, the heart hears that too and adjusts its beat. In this way, the heart is like a reader of an invisible book, written in hormones, minerals, and molecules. During fasting, this book becomes simpler. Fewer signals come from digestion. The constant rise and fall of blood sugar smooths out. The heart begins to work in a more steady environment without the frequent chemical storms created by heavy meals. For some people, this feels like calm. Their heart beats more evenly, their chest feels lighter, and their breath becomes slower. This is not imagination, it is the heart responding to a quieter internal world. The nervous system also changes its voice during fasting. There are two main tones in this system, one that pushes, speeds, and prepares for action, and another that calms, repairs, and rests. Eating, stress, noise, and constant stimulation all tend to activate the faster tone. Fasting often allows the calmer tone to speak more clearly. The heart listens to this shift through nerves that connect directly to it. When calm signals increase, the heart slows slightly and beats with more gentle variation, like music that flows instead of marches. The heart also listens to emotions, even though emotions have no shape or color. Fear, anger, sadness, and peace all change the chemicals in the blood and the signals in the nerves. During fasting, when distractions are fewer, emotions often become clearer. Some people feel calm and light, others feel restless or anxious. Whatever appears, the heart listens and responds. A worried thought can tighten the chest. A peaceful breath can soften it. This shows that the heart is not ruled only by food, but by meaning. The idea that the heart is a listener reminds us that it is always in relationship. It is in relationship with the blood that feeds it, with the lungs that give it oxygen, with the brain that guides its rhythm, and with the inner world of thoughts and feelings. Fasting changes many of these relationships at once. The blood brings different fuel, the hormones speak differently, the nervous system shifts its tone, the emotional world often becomes louder or clearer. The heart stands in the middle of all this, receiving, adjusting, responding. This is why fasting feels different to different people. The heart is not responding to a single rule, but to the whole person. A calm person with good rest and balanced minerals may feel their heart become peaceful and steady. A stressed person with poor sleep or low minerals may feel palpitations or weakness. The heart is honest. It does not hide what it hears. It turns every signal into rhythm. Seeing the heart as a listener also changes how we treat it. Instead of forcing it with extreme rules, we begin to respect its sensitivity. We realize that what we think, how we breathe, how we rest, and how we nourish ourselves all speak directly to the heart. During fasting, this becomes very clear because the loud voice of food is quiet and other voices become easier to hear. In the silence of not eating, many people first notice their heartbeat more clearly. Lying down at night, they feel the gentle rise and fall in the chest. They notice how it changes when they take a deep breath or when a sudden thought appears. This is awareness meeting biology. The heart has always been listening, but now the person begins to listen too. When we understand that the heart is a listener, fasting becomes more than a physical act. It becomes a conversation. The body speaks through chemistry. The heart answers through rhythm. The mind observes through awareness. Each part learns something about the others. The heart learns new signals. The person learns new feelings. And in this exchange, there is a quiet lesson about life itself. That we are not controlled only by what we consume, but by what we attend to, what we feel, and what we allow to shape the inner language that the heart hears every moment of its endless listening. When food is no longer arriving, the body does not collapse. It reorganizes. One of the most remarkable examples of this reorganization is the way the heart changes the fuel it uses. In daily life, the heart often burns a mixture of glucose and fatty acids, quietly choosing whatever is most available in the blood. It does not have loyalty to one fuel, it has loyalty to life. This flexibility is part of its wisdom, and fasting brings this wisdom into clearer view. At the beginning of fasting, the last meal still speaks through the blood. Glucose circulates, insulin guides it into cells, and the heart continues to use this familiar energy. But as hours pass, insulin becomes quieter and glucose becomes less abundant. The body understands that outside fuel is no longer coming, so it turns to what is stored. Fat cells release fatty acids into the bloodstream, like opening long-sealed doors. These fatty acids travel everywhere, including to the heart. The heart welcomes them. In fact, under resting conditions, the heart prefers fatty acids for much of its work. They are rich in energy and burn slowly and steadily, like thick logs in a fire. Inside heart cells, tiny structures called mitochondria adjust their activity. They increase the pathways that break down fatty acids and turn them into usable energy. This is not a sudden switch but a smooth transition, guided by hormones and enzymes that sense what is available. As fasting continues, another fuel begins to appear: ketones. The liver makes ketones from fatty acids when glucose is low. These small molecules move easily through the blood and enter many tissues. The brain, which usually depends heavily on glucose, slowly learns to accept ketones. The heart, already comfortable with fat, also uses ketones with ease. Ketones are like refined fuel, simple in structure and easy to burn. This shift in fuel is not only about survival. It changes how the heart feels inside its own cells. Burning glucose and burning fats and ketones are not chemically identical. They create slightly different byproducts, slightly different patterns of energy release. Some scientists believe that ketone use may produce less internal stress in cells, a quieter chemical environment. For the heart, this can mean smoother work, less internal friction, a calmer kind of effort. People sometimes imagine that fasting starves the heart, but in most healthy bodies the opposite is true. The body protects the heart strongly. Fat stores, even in lean people, contain far more energy than the heart needs for many days or weeks. As long as fat is available, the heart is rarely in danger of running out of fuel. What changes is not the amount of energy, but the form in which it arrives. This change in fuel also changes how the heart interacts with the rest of the body. When glucose is high and insulin is active, many tissues compete for sugar. During fasting, when glucose is lower, fewer tissues demand it, and the heart relies more on fats and ketones, leaving glucose for the brain and certain cells that need it most. This is a kind of quiet cooperation inside the body, where each organ chooses what it can use best so that all can survive. This flexibility is not something the heart learns during fasting, it is something it has always had. Fasting simply reveals it. In times of illness, stress, or heavy exercise, the heart often shifts fuels quickly, using what is available. Extended fasting just creates a long, steady environment where fat and ketones are the main language of energy. There is also a deeper meaning in this shift. It shows that the heart is not attached to comfort. Glucose is the easy, quick fuel, often connected with eating, pleasure, and routine. Fat and ketones are slower, quieter fuels, connected with stored energy and patience. When the heart lives on these fuels, it shows a kind of endurance. It shows that life can continue not only on what is immediately given, but on what has been saved. Some people feel different in their chest during this shift. Their heart rate may become slightly slower. Their pulse may feel softer. This is not because the heart is weaker, but because it is working in a different chemical world. The blood is less full of sugar spikes and insulin waves. It is more steady, more even. The heart responds by choosing a rhythm that matches this steadiness. But this shift also requires support. To burn fats and ketones well, the heart needs oxygen and minerals. It needs potassium, magnesium, and sodium to keep its electrical rhythm stable. If these are lacking, the beautiful flexibility of the heart can become stressed. It may beat irregularly or feel uncomfortable. This is not because fat or ketones are bad fuels, but because no fuel works well without the right environment. The shift from glucose to fat and ketones is also a lesson about identity. The heart does not define itself by one role. It does not say, "I am a glucose burner." It says, "I am a life keeper." It uses whatever helps it continue its work. In this way, the heart reflects a truth about life itself. That survival often depends not on holding tightly to one way of being, but on the ability to change. Extended fasting gives us a chance to witness this change. When we know what is happening, we can respect it. We can drink enough water, we can care for minerals, we can rest when needed. We can observe how our body feels as it moves into this different state. And as we observe, we may begin to feel gratitude for the quiet intelligence inside us. Watching the heart change its fuel is like watching a skilled traveler change vehicles when the road changes. On smooth city roads, it may use a fast car. On long, empty highways, it chooses something steady and strong. The destination is the same, to deliver life to every cell. Only the path and the vehicle change. In this way, fasting does not weaken the heart, it shows us its strength. It shows us that the heart is not fragile in the face of change. It is designed for change. It is built to listen to what is available and to make life from it. And in watching this, we may learn something about ourselves, that we too can live not only on what comes easily, but on what we have patiently stored, both in the body and in the deeper parts of our being. When people hear that fasting can slow the heart and lower blood pressure, they often imagine weakness, as if the body is fading. But the truth is quieter and stronger. A slower heart during fasting is often a sign that the body is working more efficiently, not less. It is like a river that flows smoothly instead of crashing loudly over rocks. The heart adjusts its rhythm to match the new internal world created when food is absent. In daily life, eating, stress, noise, and constant activity all speak to the nervous system in a loud voice. This loud voice belongs to the system that prepares the body for action, speed, and urgency. It tells the heart to beat faster and stronger, ready for movement, digestion, and response. Fasting gently lowers the volume of this voice. Without frequent meals and constant stimulation, another system begins to speak more clearly, the system of rest, repair, and calm. The heart listens closely to this shift. Nerves connect the brain and the heart directly, carrying messages that change the rhythm of every beat. When calm signals become stronger, the heart slows slightly. It does not drag or struggle. It simply chooses a quieter tempo, like music that moves from a fast dance to a slow, thoughtful melody. Blood pressure often follows this change. Insulin, which rises with eating, tells the kidneys to hold on to salt and water. When fasting lowers insulin, the kidneys release more salt and water. Blood volume becomes a little smaller. Blood vessels also relax when insulin and stress hormones are lower. With less volume and more relaxed vessels, the heart does not need to push as hard. Pressure gently falls, not as failure but as relief. Some people feel this as lightness. Others may feel a little dizzy when standing quickly. This is not usually danger, but a sign that the heart and vessels are working in a new balance. The body is learning a different way to stand, move, and flow. With time and proper hydration and minerals, this balance often becomes smooth again. A slower heart is not an idle heart. It is still sending blood to every cell. It is still answering every need. It is simply doing so with less noise and less force. Just as a skilled worker becomes faster by wasting fewer movements, the heart becomes calmer by wasting less energy. This calm rhythm also shows in the small variations between beats. A healthy heart does not beat like a machine. It changes its timing slightly with breathing, posture, and emotion. This gentle variation is a sign of good nervous system balance. Fasting often increases this flexibility, showing that the heart is not locked into stress, but free to respond to life moment by moment. Emotion also plays a role. When food is absent, some people become more aware of their thoughts and feelings. Peaceful thoughts can slow the heart. Fear or worry can speed it up. During fasting, when distractions are fewer, this connection becomes clearer. People begin to notice how directly the heart responds to what the mind holds. This teaches an important lesson. The heart is not controlled only by food or fuel. It is guided by the nervous system, by breath, by emotion, by meaning. Fasting removes one strong influence and in doing so reveals many others. When the heart slows during fasting, it is not surrendering. It is choosing a rhythm that matches a quieter inner world. It is like a traveler who no longer runs because there is no need to rush. The path is long, the pace is steady, and the movement is sure. This softer rhythm can feel unfamiliar at first. In a world that celebrates speed, stillness can feel strange. But inside the body, stillness is often where healing begins. Muscles repair, inflammation calms. The heart finds a rhythm that supports long life rather than short excitement. So when fasting brings a slower pulse and gentler pressure, it is often showing that the body has moved from urgency to efficiency, from noise to rhythm, from pushing to flowing. And in that flowing, the heart continues its work with quiet strength and patient confidence during fasting. Much attention is given to fuel, to sugar, fat, and ketones. But the heart lives not only on fuel, it lives on balance. This balance is built from tiny invisible elements called minerals. Sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium are not just parts of food, they are the language of the heart's electrical system. Every beat begins as an electrical signal, and that signal exists only because these minerals move in and out of heart cells in a precise rhythm. When food is eaten regularly, many of these minerals arrive quietly through meals. Salt, vegetables, fruits, grains, and water all bring small amounts that keep the internal C stable. But during fasting, this steady arrival stops. At the same time, insulin levels fall, and the kidneys begin to release more salt and water. With this water, minerals are carried out of the body. The blood becomes slightly thinner in these essential elements, and the heart begins to notice. Sodium helps control the volume of blood and the movement of electrical signals. Potassium shapes how heart cells reset after each beat. Magnesium calms the electrical system and prevents it from becoming too excitable. Calcium helps each heart cell contract strongly. If any of these fall too low, the heart's rhythm can lose its smoothness. It may beat too fast, too slow, or unevenly. Some people feel this as fluttering, skipping, or pounding in the chest. These sensations are not signs of failure. They are messages. The heart is saying that its environment has changed too much. It is like a musician trying to play when the strings of the instrument have loosened. The song can still be played, but it will not sound right until the strings are tuned again. During extended fasting, people sometimes drink a lot of plain water, thinking this is always good. But too much water without minerals can wash even more minerals out of the body. The blood becomes diluted, and the heart struggles to keep its electrical rhythm steady. This is why fasting is not just about not eating. It is about caring for the internal sea in which the heart swims. When minerals are balanced, the heart can adapt beautifully to fasting. It can shift fuels, slow its rhythm, and work efficiently. But without minerals, even the strongest heart becomes uneasy. This does not mean fasting is dangerous by nature. It means fasting requires listening and care. There is also a lesson here beyond biology. The heart teaches us that strength is not only about energy, but about harmony. A heart with plenty of fuel but poor balance will struggle more than a heart with simple fuel but good balance. In the same way, a life with many resources but little harmony can feel unstable, while a simple life with good balance can feel strong. People who fast wisely often pay attention to salt, to mineral-rich water, or gentle broths. They listen to their body. If dizziness, weakness, or strong palpitations appear, they do not ignore them. They understand that these are not enemies but signals asking for care. The heart is patient, but it is also honest. It will not hide when something essential is missing. It will speak through sensation, rhythm, and feeling. Learning to hear this speech is part of learning to respect the body. During fasting, the quiet absence of food makes other needs louder. Thirst becomes clearer. Weakness becomes more noticeable. The heartbeat itself becomes easier to feel. This is not a problem. It is an invitation to awareness. When we give the heart what it truly needs during fasting, water with minerals, rest, calm, and attention, it responds with steady rhythm. It shows that it can live well in many conditions, as long as its inner sea is kept in balance. And perhaps this is the deepest message of minerals and the heart. That life is built from small, invisible things working together in harmony. And when that harmony is protected, Even great changes like fasting can become gentle, safe, and meaningful experiences for the body. And for the rhythm that keeps it alive, every moment of its patient beating, fasting changes more than chemistry. It changes the inner landscape of a person. When food is absent, many of the small comforts and distractions of daily life fall quiet. Taste, habit, and routine no longer fill the hours in the same way. In this quiet, the body speaks more clearly, and the heart becomes a mirror of both the physical and the emotional world. The heart does not live only on fuel, it lives on meaning. It listens to hormones and minerals, but it also listens to thought, memory, and feeling. During fasting, when the voice of food becomes silent, other voices grow louder. A calm thought can soften the heartbeat. A fearful one can tighten the chest. A kind memory can bring warmth. An anxious one can bring tension. The heart responds to all of it without judgment, simply turning every inner movement into rhythm. Many people notice that fasting makes them more aware of their heartbeat. At night, lying still, they feel the gentle rise and fall in the chest. They notice how the beat changes with breath, how it responds when a thought suddenly appears. This is not imagination. It is awareness meeting biology. The heart has always been responding, but now the mind is quiet enough to notice. Emotions that were hidden by busy routines often come forward during fasting. Some people feel peace and clarity. Others feel restlessness or sadness. These feelings change hormones and nervous signals, and the heart listens carefully. A peaceful state may slow the heart and make it feel soft. Anxiety may make it faster or tight. This does not mean fasting is causing these feelings. It is revealing them. In this way, fasting becomes a kind of inner mirror. It shows what is already there. The heart reflects this truth faithfully. It does not pretend. It shows through rhythm what the inner world is holding. This connection between heart and meaning teaches a gentle lesson. Health is not only about food, exercise, and numbers. It is also about how we live inside ourselves. A person may eat well and still carry fear. Another may eat simply and carry peace. The heart will respond to both. During fasting, when the body is living on stored energy, the mind often begins to live on stored thoughts. Old memories, hopes, regrets, and dreams may rise. The heart listens to all of them. This is why fasting has been used for reflection in many cultures. It creates space where inner life becomes clearer. But this clarity must be met with kindness. If difficult emotions appear, they should not be fought. Fighting creates tension, and tension speaks loudly to the heart. Gentle attention, slow breathing, and acceptance calm the nervous system and allow the heart to return to a soft rhythm. Fasting shows that the heart is not only a muscle. It is a bridge between body and meaning. It carries blood, but it also carries the story of how a person is living inside. When the body is quiet, that story becomes easier to hear. In this quiet, some people discover gratitude. They feel thankful for their heartbeat, for their breath, for the simple fact of being alive. Gratitude changes chemistry, calms nerves, and softens rhythm. The heart answers with steadiness. So fasting is not only a biological act. It is an inner journey where chemistry and consciousness walk together, and the heart stands in the middle, translating fuel, feeling, thought, and silence into the simple language of beat after beat after beat.